Hi, I'm Kendra at the Jacobitz Learning Center. So let's go here. Listen, just real quick promotion on an ACT and SAT reading and mathematical strategies that I have on here. It tells you everything, 9 lectures. There are a total of like 4 quizzes with 80 questions. This here is the discount code for ACT and for the class. And I have one for each course there, Udemy on speed reading, and I have another one, charged course when I say this fee induced for ACT and SAT mathematics strategies in case you need more. Okay, so we're going to go and do speed reading practice. And when we move on, we're going to take a look at Socrates' Apology by Plato. Why are we doing this? This is in the 12th grade curriculum here in Florida. And the problem a lot of students have is not only that Plato, who wrote this, is not only repetitive, but he's also all over the place in his speech. And he also seems to be talking to himself, but he's not. He's talking to an audience. So let's read this. How you have felt, O men of Athens, at hearing the speeches of my accusers. I cannot tell, but I know that their persuasive words almost made me forget who I was. Such was the effect of them, and yet they have hardly spoken a word of truth, but many as their falsehoods were. There was one of them which quite amazed me. I mean, when they told you to be upon your guard and not to let yourselves be deceived by the force of my eloquence. They ought to have been ashamed of saying this, because they were sure to be detected as soon as I opened my lips and displayed my deficiency. They certainly did appear to be most shameless in saying this, unless by the force of eloquence they mean the force of truth. For then I indeed admit that I am eloquent, but in how different a way from theirs. Well, as I was saying, they have hardly uttered a word, not more of a word of truth, but ye shall hear from me the whole truth, not however delivered from their manner in a set oration duly ornamented with words and phrases. No, indeed, but I shall use the words and arguments which occur to me at the moment, for I am certain that this is right, and that at my time of life I ought to not be appearing before you, O men of Athens, in this character of a juvenile orator. Let no one expect this of me, and I must beg of you to grant me one favor, which is this. If you hear me using the same words in my defense which I have been in the habit of using, and which most of you may have heard in the agora and at the tables of the money changers or anywhere else, I would ask you not to be surprised at this and not to interrupt me. For I am more than 70 years of age, and this is the first time I have ever appeared in a court of law. I am quite a stranger to the ways of the place, and therefore I would have you regard me as if I were really a stranger whom you would excuse if he spoke in his native tongue, and after the fashion of his country, that I think is not an unfair request. Never mind the manner, which may or may not be good, but think only of the justice of my case, and give heed to that. Let the jury decide with their virtue and the speaker truly. So when you're speed reading, you have to take all of this and try to make it make sense to you. I read it one time and it took 4 minutes. That's not speed reading. Speed reading would make you read through this within 2 minutes. This is ultimately not something that I would have you speed read with, but there is a way to do it, and I'm going to show you how. I have highlighted the words that make you say things so that when you get ready to make you think things, so that when you get ready to, what you're going to do, men of Athens, you're going to go persuasive words, falsehoods were, my eloquence. You're going to go to each line and you're going to go try to find something at the beginning and at the end so that you can get what's going on. Now, how do you measure your speed reading comprehension? That has to do with your questions. So if you're speed reading and you're kind of not getting the questions right, then it's not working for you. So the whole point of you trying to speed read is for you to get faster. But here's what you also have to do. When you speed read, you have to make sure that as you are speed reading, you are actually understanding what's happening. Okay, otherwise it's not going to be any good to you. Okay, and this is a really, really hard chapter to do, but this is the one that's here. So here's how you're going to speed read. O men of Athens, you're going to go persuasive words, falsehoods were, eloquence, ashamed, displayed my deficiency, most shameless, different way, well as I was saying, they've hardly uttered a word, but you shall hear from me the whole truth. And then you go down to this one, delivered after their manner, duly ornamented with words and phrases. But I shall use the words and arguments which occur to me at the moment. I ought to be appearing before you. He repeats this, so you can skip this. Men of Athens, in this character, I am like this. Juvenile orator. Begging me one favor. Hearing me, you heard me in the agora. This must be some kind of auditorium, and you're going to put this together. When we turn this page, we're going to see if we can't take these words and make them make sense when you're speed reading. So when we went over this, and I just went ahead and did this for you because I wanted to go very, very fast. When you're speed reading, you're getting used to saying, "O men of Athens, hearing the speech of accusers, forcing my eloquence, my deficiency, uttered a word, arguments, juvenile orator, my defense, which I have been right in habit of using, money changers, appeared in a court of law, I'm a stranger to the ways, only the justice of my cause, jury decide whether their virtue. Speakers speak freely." You can go ahead if you put all those words together. And for those of you who are just starting at this, or those of you who are a lot younger than I am, you're not used to all those words being jumbled at one time. But here's the situation. You're doing it this way. So men of Athens should be charged with the same crime would be way too broad, because he says, "O men of Athens, from the beginning, please listen to me." Okay. Also, he, who, when I say he, is Plato, and he wrote this years and years ago. There's something specifically he's saying. He's kind of saying, hearing speeches my accusers, they're saying that I used eloquence. I have a deficiency for using eloquence. Eloquence uttered a word. He said, yet I haven't uttered a word. He said, I have arguments. I am certain is right, and I won't appear in front of you as a juvenile orator. Let no one expect this of me. I'm going to sound good, is what he's saying. I'm going to sound intelligent. And yes, I'm going to be eloquent. And I wish you to grant me one favor, hearing the same words in my defense, which I've been in the habit of using. And he said, if you guys listen to the money changers, or any time I've appeared in a court of law, I'm quite a stranger to the ways, because I haven't really appeared in a court of law. He's saying that. He's going back. He's talking doublespeak. Okay? But think only of the justice of my cause and give heed to that. And then let the jury decide with their virtue and the speaker speak truly. So is he basically saying all men of Athens are deceitful? Not really. He's kind of saying, oh, men of Athens, listen to me, and I'm going to appear in front of you with intelligence, not like a juvenile orator that's here. And you need to pay attention to what I'm saying, because I'm not dumb. I know how to express myself. And men of Athens should be fair to people who are being heard for crimes. Well, he says, let the jury decide their virtue. And we went over with the speaker speak truly. He is a speaker. And when you go out and say only a jury can decide if a speaker uses virtue, that's way too broad. So these are just some of the questions you would get. And what you have to do is go very, very quickly over your head how you're going to do this, and you develop this skill over a period of time. And please let me tell you, it has nothing to do with intelligence. It's about how you think through things and how you put words together. When you look at this whole text, and the reason I'm trying to put speed reading in with reading comprehension is because we've been asked to help students to read faster. Okay, and it says the reason Plato uses money changers is which of the following. Now, the only way that you're going to get better with this, and you're only going to understand what's really going on here, is if you get used to a tone. If you want to understand tone, you have to go back and you have to say, with me using the same words in my defense, which I have been in the habit of using, and which most of you may not have heard in the Agora, and at the tables of the money changers or anywhere else. I would ask you not to be surprised at this. Now, throughout history, for those of us who have read any Christian or Christianity, Judaism, any of those faiths, the money changers and money lenders all represented something. And they represented these kind of greedy people who were going up on prices and doing these high interest rates. They're called usurious rates. So, they're way too high. It's like when you charge interest above prime, which is 2% or 2.75, and then you go ahead and you charge it at 19 or 20. They're money lenders, there's money chargers, and I'm writing both words down because I want you to think about it. Now, if you go to your questions, the one that sticks out at you very carefully is this: they're deceitful. Because in the Judeo-Christian faith, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but in the Judeo-Christian faith, we understand there are other religions out there. The money lenders are these people who, when Jesus Christ goes in, ironically, they're at tables, kind of how Plato is making this claim. And they're like saying, Jesus goes and he gets angry with them. So a lot of people would say, well, the reason Plato used it because we know money changers are deceitful. And that's possible. Okay, this is a real strong possible answer because Plato says, if you heard me at the Agora, that's like a stadium where everybody goes, or anywhere else, I would ask you to listen to me. Okay, we know they're not orators. They're people who sit at the table. This is hard to change. You have to understand for this question the biblical reference. You go to see if a person listens to money changers, they should listen to him too. That's very, very strong as well. The money changers are younger, so they should listen to him and not discriminate against older or people older than 60 years. He doesn't get into age. He got into his age over at the tail end, but he really doesn't link these, and he never gives age of money change lenders. Okay, so he doesn't give age. Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, D's out. So now we are between B and C. Okay, the money changers are deceitful. But there's another link you have to draw. He says if you listen to the money changers or anywhere else, I would ask that you not be surprised to hear this and not to interrupt me. So he's kind of saying C. If you listen to them, you should listen to me too. And this just comes with better practice. So you had two things here that you were doing. You were getting into money changers and into money lenders, and into, well, it says changers here, changers and lenders, and you were getting into what they do. And then at the same time, you had to read all this at the same time. This is lesson 1 of speed reading. And as we move on, you'll get better. I had another I did have another reading text, but I want you to go back and take a look at this one before I get into that, because the next one I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. So thanks for watching.